Okay, good. Welcome,
Nice.
Katie. All right, so we have a
Wait, I
quorum.
don't have to sit down there.
So we're waiting for Jean. So what we can do is we'll start it, or if you guys want to give him a few minutes, we can do that, or I can have Jill run the meeting.
Did you say he's on his way?
Yeah, he also did not know there was a meeting and therefore was turning around after dropping Bo off.
Okay. I mean, I can start it. It doesn't matter.
Okay, let's do that. Let's start.
So, do we want to start with the owner member comments? Just the top of my list. Excellent. Going official here. Calling meeting to order in attendance. We do have a quorum. We have Anthony and Katie online. In the room at the moment, we have Sue and myself. And I will take a motion to adopt the agenda. You got a motion? Two motions. Second to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Thank you. First discussion item is dog park committee meeting on the approval of the minutes. Did anybody read them from November? Whatever, I read them.
I did, but it was like a month or two ago. But I don't remember having any issues with the meetings as they stood, or the minutes.
Okay, motion to adopt the meeting minutes from November.
Yeah, I'll motion that.
Second. Okay, Sue seconded. All in favor?
Anthony's in favor.
In favor.
Well, okay. Paw Academy, contract with.
Okay. So we have two representatives from Paw Academy. They were in a 3-month trial period that's going to end at the end of March.
Okay,
I on management side, we do recommend renewing their contract for a year, so it will be December 31st. I got a lot of feedback from Pups and Pines, definitely on Pups and Pine, that they're saying that they really enjoyed having the Bark Bus, which is Paw Academy,
right.
at our facilities.
Good.
So we are in favor for that. So I just need to get a
So-
vote, if there is one.
So have there been any incidents, any issues, any trouble, anything?
Knock on something, but no, we've not had a single incident or issue yet. The folks we run into at the park have been really receptive. I think the way we have the schedule set up is really, really good too, because we haven't run into any like overcrowding scenarios or anything like that. We've even been able to actually help, I think it's 7 or 8 residents now get their dogs registered, which they kind of were unfamiliar with or afraid to do before.
Right.
So no issues whatsoever so far.
What's the, how many dogs have you taken? Like, what's your average number of
So
dogs with you? All of the details.
Yeah, so for January, which we just sent this report over, we did 36 or 37 sessions. Now, if you'll remember, we define our sessions as basically the hour period of time that we're there.
Right,
So we can do up to 3 sessions in a day, which we have done sometimes. I think the most we've had in a given session might be 4 dogs. Now, again, we obviously abide by the 2 dogs per human rule, so we have at least 2 staff there in those situations.
Right.
But yeah, for the month of January, we had, I want to say it was 37 sessions. Which, you know, Nikki will see what the revenue is for celebration there. Which is awesome because in December, we really only did it for about a week.
right.
We had a few people try it out, so we weren't sure what to expect going into January. And to be honest, and John can keep me honest, I think we've probably gotten more interest in the program than what we even thought. And Pups and Pines was really good too, for us to get the word out a little bit. And we've already, I know we're 2 days into February, but John was up at the dog park today.
Yeah, we did all 3 sessions, but we did a total of 6 dogs.
We did.
So
Awesome. So anybody on the phone have any questions for Paw Academy about the Bark Bus?
Yeah, I got a couple. So I just want to make sure that everything's, being addressed. So first, I guess this is kind of going to Danny. I believe when we initially did this 3-month trial, we had said at the end of the trial, the extension would be contingent on getting resident feedback on how they felt about the BARK bus being in the park. Is that still part of the plan?
Well, as far as surveys, we won't just do a survey just for the BARK bus. That would have to be the whole entire, which we had that discussion in the meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
We
you're
can
right. It
do a
doesn't have to
survey, but
be.
it wouldn't be just for the BARK bus. The
That's
feedback that I'm referring to is the ones that I get, because I live in town as well. I try not to use my personal and my work relationship with the residents, but a lot of times they like to talk to me as I'm still working. But so with my passive eyes, it's always, hey, are you part of the committee? Yes, I am. Oh, thank you for bringing the BARK bus over. When I'm on vacation, I now have a place to bring them when, I don't want them staying at the house. So I got a lot of feedback at Pups and Pine. I was in the tent that did the paint hall print.
Mhm.
No one gave me negative feedback about the BARK bus. And I didn't bring it up. I didn't say, hey, what about you? What do you think about the BARK bus? Because I know that if I push, then I could be persuading, but I like to just be like, hey, you come to me and you ask the questions. So as far as management was not too happy trying to just do one survey of one particular item, because you know how it is in this town where it's like, they don't give you the true response.
All right, so
So-
I'm fine with, to your point, I'm fine with combining it with like a survey that's going on with
Yeah.
other questions on it. I don't mind that.
Mhm.
But I believe that when we discussed about this initially, that we did say that at the end of the 3-month period, that we would like to have resident feedback before making that decision. And I just want to ask if that is still the plan, because that was my understanding that we were going to do that.
So the plan is no. So I'm going by feedback of what I've heard. What I'm planning on doing, if we decide we do not want to vote for this, then this would probably have to go to another committee, to the actual Parks and Rec committee. But I have to get the permission to do that. If there is any negative though, if you guys had some issue, I'm not at the dog park. So if there's anybody
Mhm.
here on this committee that has issues, state it now, because I know that we had some hiccups when we voted to have them do this trial period. I want to make sure,
Yeah,
if you guys
so
know something I don't know,
I
then
know
you have to
of
state it.
some residents, yeah, I'm happy to state it, that I know that there's some
Okay.
residents at the dog park that have expressed concern.
Okay.
So it's great that you're hearing feedback that, at the Pups and Pints, that there's great feedback. And I'm sure that's the case.
Yeah.
But I have heard some residents, not saying that that it's all negative, but there have been concerns, and that's how
Okay.
I hesitate on giving it like a blanket. Okay, let's go for a full year, since we had initially talked about getting that resident feedback. I want to give them the chance to share that feedback, because right now they're just sharing with
So-
me. But I want to give them that chance to express it directly to management before I'm comfortable making a call. But that's just me.
Okay.
Hey, Anthony?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on what the feedback is and the concerns that you're hearing from the dog park people?
Yeah, and this kind of goes into a couple more questions that I had. That was just the first one. So before I get into like feedback, so just a couple more like operational questions. So first, and I think they had already alluded to it when they were talking about like registrations with like the front desk. Is to Danny, I guess. Is there some verification in place that the dogs that are going to the dog park, that we're being checked and we're sure that all of those dogs are registered, and not just like residents of Celebration but not registered?
Well,
Because I
they
trust,
can't,
I
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I trust that
so-
the BARK bus is checking to make sure they're residents. But there's that second step where their vaccination papers are submitted and reviewed, and that's how you get your access approved. And when we agreed to the 3-month test, that was part of the thing as well, is that there would be some audit or checking going on to ensure that's happening. So I just wanted to check that that's happening.
So they go by our rules. So that was the whole point of them joining this
Yeah,
partner program was they had to go by our rules, which means that they have to be residents and the dogs has to be vaccinated, have to go through the whole process
Right.
as if it was their dog.
Yeah,
So,
agreed.
as far as I know, what we saw, because they give us a roster, what we saw was all registered dogs for Celebration. Now, unless I'm wrong, now, if you guys have,
And this is Scott with Paw Academy, what I can offer is, so what we're asking for residents is to demonstrate proof that they've gone through the process with Grow Up, whether it's their card with a little paw print sticker on it, or even the paperwork that they've submitted. And then what we turn around and do is we submit a detailed roster to Nikki each month, which has the resident name and detailed on it. And our understanding was that then Grow can go back check.
Mhm.
And, you know, just in case someone is for whatever reason lying to us about having their dog registered. If there's something different or more in depth we should be doing to vet that, we're happy to do it.
so what we do with our partner programs is we ask for a roster and they tell us if they're residents or not. But in this case, they have to be residents. This is just like the gym, like, you know, you can't have a friend go into the gym because there's a liability. With the dog park, it's a liability. You cannot have a friend's dog. You can't have, you know, your cousin's dog. It has to be a dog that was registered with town
Yeah.
hall.
Yeah,
So
and
now
I
if this
think we're in
happens
agreement.
where we find out it's not, then that's where we could cancel a contract. But again, we can't do that unless it's board approved.
So I guess Anthony's asking, have we audited to make
Well,
sure?
they send us, yeah, well, I go by what that, you know, what the names and.
Right, but you've looked at
Yes,
the
we
list
looked
and
at
said
it, yes.
all of these dogs are registered.
These were, yes, well, they give us, we look at.
Okay,
Okay.
so yes, it looks like they are auditing the rosters that Paw Academy is providing. That's what Danny is saying.
Yeah, that was my question. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying, Mitchell.
No problem.
Okay, so I have another question regarding like vaccinations. I think you said your name was Josh. I'm sorry. I'm really bad with names.
Scott,
Oh, Scott. Man, see, I'm so sorry. Sorry,
that
Scott.
was close.
So you had mentioned it as well that you guys are, you know, you have vaccination requirements. And I know that there was a concern that was raised among some of the residents at the dog park last month when it came to like canine flu, like the influenza that was going around. And there was questions about like vaccination requirements for the dog park itself and also for the bark bus, since the bark bus is bringing dogs to the dog park. And I believe, yeah, I just want to validate that one, that the bark bus is checking that we like even like any dogs. Well, this is kind of a moot point if they're registered with the front desk. So maybe this isn't a concern because that kind of ties in there.
Yeah,
Anthony,
we rely on CROA's vaccination requirements. So we require the exact same things for any of our dogs on the bus. So luckily for us, none of our dogs actually experienced that illness that we heard about.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, if the community's comfortable with CROA's requirements as far as the vaccinations go, they should be comfortable with us because we require the exact same thing.
Okay.
I think,
Katie, do you,
I think,
go on.
I was gonna say, I know, Danny, I know this came up at the last meeting, but because we haven't had quorum in a while, we tabled it, but I would love to revisit adding Bordetella to the kennel cough vaccine to the park requirements, because it wasn't listed last time.
So the list.
Later, that's for that later.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk about it. All right.
See if it has.
So with the committee, I know that this committee's, we're about to end this committee soon. We're gonna get a new one.
We only require rabies.
Yeah, go ahead. If you want to say it out loud, Jill.
According to the dog park registration form, we only require, CROA only requires rabies, the DHPPV, which I think is parvo, and a fecal test. There's no requirement, and there has not been a requirement at this time for canine influenza or Bordetella. It's recommended, but it's not required.
Yeah,
That's true.
Jill, I don't know if you're
And-
aware, we just had a major outbreak of kennel cough. And so I want to talk about potentially adding the kennel cough vaccine requirement.
Right,
That's
so
separate
that's
from
a
the bark bus,
separate,
but-
that would be a separate issue, but that's not, so currently, from what I'm understanding, Bark Bus adheres to all of the requirements that we have for, that we CROA have for, vaccinations. So,
Now, that doesn't say we can't add it. If this is something you guys want to add to, because I do have rules and regulations at the bottom here,
yeah, that's a
we can
second,
talk about that.
yeah, that would be a
Yeah,
second
and to-
recommendation.
Yeah, I agree. It needs to be discussed. To Jill's point, it sounds like it's a topic that's that does need to be discussed later down on the line.
Yeah.
And if I guess if we do decide that we want to change vaccination requirements, obviously that would have a downstream effect to the Bark Bus if they're bringing dogs into the park. Of course, they would need the vaccination, but they would because they would be validated with the front desk to get that registration.
Right. I mean, they're a partner program, so there are penalties for them not following through with the requirements. So
So just, Anthony, Katie, John is here. Hey, John, can you hear us?
Yeah, hey, I hear you guys fine.
Good, good. So what's gonna happen now if we do vote a, extension to the Bark Bus? Then they're going to go through the requirements that all partner programs goes through, and that means they're going to get audited, like just inspections. So just all of a sudden, I'm just gonna show up and look at their bus, like not look at the bus, but I'm gonna watch how they do things. If we have issues with what they're doing, we have the right to talk to them about the issues, and they have the right to deny it or accept it. But if we have issues, it's a recommendation to the board. The board has the last say.
Yeah.
But once they're part of programs, it's not like they're scot-free. We're watching them like everyone else.
Yeah, so I guess, setting those questions aside and going to your original question, Danny, about like what feedback I've heard.
Yeah.
And why I'm kind of hesitant, like, it's not that I'm hesitant against approving
Yeah.
this, it's just I'm hesitant on making a decision without letting residents voice their feedback like we agreed on.
Okay.
And that's just, one, it was like the canine flu outbreak that there was concern about the sanitation on the Bark Bus. And second was related to, I guess, like personnel that are working with the dogs, if they're trained well enough, or if they are acting the way that they're supposed to be acting inside the dog park. This is not, these aren't complaints that I necessarily hold myself. I haven't seen the Bark Bus people in the dog park, but because I've heard it, I want to have them have that opportunity to share that directly. So
There, I will say, there is an opportunity for everyone to voice their opinions. The first topic of this agenda was owner comments, and nobody showed up for that. Nobody has emailed management or the board to express any concerns one way or the other on this. And they can also come to board workshops or board meetings. So there are a lot of opportunities for people to express their concerns. And that's still open. It's not that if this meeting is done, there's no more discussion on it, but there hasn't been, nobody showed up to speak on this and nobody's emailed to speak on this.
That was gonna
Okay,
be my question. I was like,
that's
other-
true.
Oh, go ahead.
Hold on, I want to finish my thought for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
So while that is true, and I agree, as a member of the committee, I'm sort of a representative of those residents that can't or don't want to be a part of these meetings. And that feedback has been shared with me. So this is sharing it with the board and with the management, is that these concerns have been raised. Now, they can go to a public meeting, sure, but again, when we agreed to do this 3-month test, part of that agreement was that we would be willing to gather that feedback before making that decision on making it like an annual thing. And what I'm asking is that we have that chance for the residents to share that feedback directly, and not necessarily in like a meeting format, because you're not going to get a lot of attendance on those, but in a direct communication, whether that's a survey or some other way.
we can send, I mean, a survey could be sent out, but literally nobody ever fills them out.
So, all right, so.
And if that's true, I mean, if that's the case, then we've given them their chance, but
Yeah.
I personally would like to give them that chance.
Yeah. So, Anthony, real quick, I know we live here and we work here, right?
Mhm.
And we're always on the clock. But the thing is, the last meeting we had, and it wasn't a meeting, we didn't have a forum, but we had a discussion. And I said, if there's any issues, we talked about the kennel call, and I said, listen, If there's any issues or concerns about us having this program, have them email us. It was recorded. I know with this committee, we try to do the best for the dogs. And I think having a program like this will be best for the residents and their dogs. If we have concerns, we're gonna have concerns no matter what. If we kennel cough, just because I'm just gonna say Roger, okay? Roger walks in the dog park with a sick dog, he causes all the dogs to get sick. That's a risk we take, right? The dog park is enter at your own risk. I think we forget this. With the whole incident reports, we enter the dog park at your own risk. I think if you want the survey, fine. But we've done this countless times, so we waited, we did the surveys, we did this, we did that, and no one wants to talk about it. All they want to talk about is grass and a dead tree.
Can we put it in the Friday Flash or the Monday Matters as just a 1-2 sentences about the bark bus, and then if you have any feedback, here's where to email.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah, I
do
have a
that.
couple thoughts I'd like to respond to Danny, but yeah, Jill. Go
Okay.
first.
And we can vote on our recommendation, because we just recommend, right? We don't get to
Right.
vote whether or not they actually keep it. So we can vote on our recommendation now, today, pending, the successful completion of the 3-month trial.
Yeah, so I mean,
we've,
to respond to that, Jill, I wouldn't be comfortable voting yes on that today, given what my stance is. But I mean, if we want to take a vote, we can take a vote. But I don't think I would vote in favor at this moment. Not to say I'm against it, but I think I would like to get that feedback. And to respond to Danny, yeah, you're right. Surveys that aren't very good. What I would like to suggest is, we have time. We're not under the wire here. We have until the end of March that we have this 3-month trial. Am I correct? Do we have until
Yeah,
March?
yes, their contract ends at the end of March, yes.
So here's the two things I'd like to ask. And I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't been reaching out to residents and saying, you need to message this person, whether it be Danny or whatever, with your feedback. Going forward, for between now and the next meeting, my suggestion is give us that chance. Give us a contact that when I have residents come to me with those concerns, I say, okay, can you please put this in writing and email this email address with that. So that way we have it.
So
Or
I'll say,
and second, I would like to, whatever that contact is, we have our bulletin board that is at the dog park. I'd like to put that paper in there as well and just, hey, we're asking for feedback. Can you please respond by this date with any feedback you have, positive, negative, neutral, whatever. Those would be my two suggestions.
I'll say the email, just for the record, for the meeting minutes and for anyone that watches this video later, to email proaboard@townhall.celebration.fl.us or Sierra Mail, the townhall@sierramail.com.
So Anthony, you don't have to be the voice. Everyone who lives here knows all the email chains.
Well, I don't think that's true. I think we may have our own little bubble of people that we talk to, and we know those people are actively civically engaged and they might know, but I don't think everyone does. Definitely speaking with, people I know.
I'm
they
going to
don't.
go ahead and agree with that, Anthony.
Based on the amount of complaints the board gets, I can assure you a majority of people know how to contact
Yeah.
town hall.
That's great, but when you ask someone at the dog park who they need to contact, they literally have no idea how to find where the meeting is. They have no idea how to find the minutes. They have the celebration website, for what it's worth, is not user friendly.
Okay, well, I just provided 2 email addresses here on the record, and now everybody here has them, and they are on the website. They're blatantly on the website. It's easy to contact. I mean, it's all on the homepage. It's very easy to contact.
Yeah,
No, yeah,
and we've had a
yeah.
discussion about that before,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
we can talk about it more. But
It's on your
so
dog
the
park
item,
ID.
so if I can just for the item that we are talking about right now, which is the contract renewal for the Paw Academy, what I would like to do, if I can make, I mean, if there's more discussion, great. But if I can make a motion I would like to motion to table this for the next month's meeting where we can make a recommendation vote at that point. And between this month and next month, I would like to try to gather resident feedback. And that's both by directly having them email that email address, verbally telling them that, and also having a paper in the bulletin boards at the dog park, asking for that feedback and having them email that email address. That would be my motion.
So, okay, so Anthony, when we discussed, we had our discussion last meeting. We all agreed that we were not gonna have a meeting next month because
For
we had
March.
to, March, because of the teams.
Yeah.
Because of teams, because we can't find a location for a meeting. Now, if I do this
And-
vote, it would have to be online. Now, half of you guys don't want to use your email, your town hall email.
Well, so we got 3 people on, like, could we try for that Teams meeting? Since we do have a deadline at the end of March for the Paul Academy, could we just try for that Teams meeting?
Well, you tell me. I mean, I'm here no matter what.
Like we
So
got
if I do
Katie
this
and John
no one
on
shows
here.
up,
Yeah.
I'd have a
And I
forum.
think I
I'm
think
fine.
what the issue is, Danny, is that yeah, you're right. It's the email address. But if my email's working and I can get the link for like Teams. So I shared it with Katie earlier.
Mhm.
I think John got it from someone. So like if we can get that Teams link out, and I think Jill's email's working, or I can text her too. But I think we can make it happen. Like I think there's trouble getting email for some of us, and while I think that still needs to be addressed, I think we can make the meeting happen.
Yeah, I'm fine with an online meeting. If we don't have a placement, that's fine. I did have a question on the BARK bus. I'm trying to be, I would say, as neutral as possible. So we, between the guests, not guests, I was sorry, speaking of my company here, but between the dog park members, people that use the dog park, the emails, the incident report, and then BARK bus was also supposed to self-report any incidents. Has there been anything whatsoever reported at all so far in the 2 months?
I'm sorry, John. So no, the last incident report that I received was the one that we discussed in November, which we're coming back again so I can rehash it. But no, that's it. That was it. And I had nothing. I received nothing from anybody regarding BARK Bus or Paul Academy. No incidents. Yeah, nothing.
How often do you guys see other residents in the dog park when you have BARK Bus participants there?
It's fairly rare. I'd say like the morning
Yeah.
session on the small dog side is where we see the most residents. But pretty rare, at like maybe 2 at a time at the most, just given our hours where we show up.
Right. Just curious, because I didn't think, I mean, I know you planned it to not be there at peak hours and
Right.
not to,
Yeah, I've never personally run into maybe more than 1 or 2 other folks in the park.
over the 36 sessions that you've been there.
Yeah.
So maybe 5 times total, or
He's there more than me, but that,
I would say a little more than 5 times. What
you're
you're
there sessions. Yeah.
Oh, on the small side?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a consistent group over on that side in the
Okay.
morning, for sure. The large size can be pretty sparse, honestly, so. Everyone's been great though, that I've got.
and you've not heard any, I mean, nobody's actually been like,
Yep.
and you haven't had any reports,
No.
Danny.
So, all right. Just guys, give you guys a heads up. Listen, what my fear was to have BARK Bus in the dog park was because of the negativity that we would get when we had a partner program use a facility that we never, ever had anyone use before for commercial use. The issue I have with tennis is that I'm always getting issues with, oh my God, there's not enough tennis courts. They're taking up all the courts. We should not have a partner program there, blah, 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 blah. Same thing with the pool. They're using the pool. Now residents can't use it. I had not heard anything like that with these guys. Nothing.
Yeah.
So
So
Anthony
I-
claimed he has.
right.
So
That's
Anthony,
what I'm saying, Danny, is that I have.
you
heard-
have?
Yes, that is.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I can't, I'm sorry, you break, okay, so you did, okay, all right. I apologize, I did not hear that part.
And so I don't want this to be misconstrued. It's not that
Yeah.
I'm against the BARK bus. I have a neutral stance on this. But as a representative of residents that have told me this, that their feelings, I want them to have their chance to share that with everyone else and not just me. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm taking the stance. I don't want
Alright.
anyone to think I'm the anti. I'm just, this is where I'm at.
I
Yeah.
don't want to belabor this anymore, trust me, but I actually didn't even hear any issues. We know about the dog influenza that went around. That had nothing to do with us. We even demonstrated our cleaning protocol. We're happy to hold an open house of the bus to show people our cleaning protocol.
That's what this
So that-
meeting is.
Yeah, that was an issue, yeah, but that wasn't a park bus issue.
Right.
And then I think I heard something mentioned about conduct at the dog park or something. Where it's pretty much always John and I there, who have never had any confrontations with folks. I would just be curious as to what the actual detail.
That's why I was asking what the specifics
Yeah,
were, but
exactly.
I haven't.
Okay, so, all right, so Anthony, you motioned to table it. Now, if I put this in the Friday flash about how the resident feels about the BART bus and I get nothing, what's the next
Yeah,
step?
so Danny, what I'd like to have in the motion
Uh-huh.
is for two things. One, to be able over the next month to be able to talk to other residents and people at the dog park, and when they share these concerns with me, I want to be able to give them that email address that was shared earlier and say, put this in writing, send it here so that we can further discuss it. And second, I would like this that email address and a call for feedback to be put on the bulletin boards in the dog park and say, please provide any feedback about the BART bus by this date at this email address. This is just to give them that chance. I'm not saying we're going to get any, but I want to give them that chance. And that's what my motion is. If we can put it in Friday Flash, that's great too. But that's what my motion is.
Okay.
Is there a second for that motion?
Is there a second? I
All
second.
right, I'm on mute. I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a second, all in favor?
Anthony's in favor.
Aye.
Everyone's in favor.
Okay,
It's-
so we're going to table the contract renewal recommendation. Let's put a date for the feedback, like we should actually put a date on the calendar, not just like whatever. Can we say feedback received by February 28th? That's 3 weeks worth of, 3.5 weeks worth, that's almost the entire month.
I'm fine with that as long as we can get the bulletin boards filled with this paper by say like end of this week. If that would give them a solid 3 weeks. If we can't get it by the end of this week, then I don't think I'd be comfortable.
Yeah, so since we're going to teams this meeting, next month, then I'm gonna take that bulletin board out and I'm switching with that one. So, okay.
Okay, so Danny's gonna put a notice in the bulletin boards, both of them, by the end of this week. That all feedback on the Bark Bus Partner Program from dog park participants needs to be provided by February 28th to the 2 email addresses that have been provided. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes,
Yeah.
and for my benefit, can you please tell me what those email addresses once more?
Hi there. So this is Jacob with Town Hall. I have a draft of what we're going to be I've been listening and what we're putting the Friday Flash. I'd like to share with you, and it'll have that email address as well.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
So this will
Great.
say the
Thank you,
Paw
Jacob.
Academy Bark Bus Park Playtime Program is a new trial program with CROA at the Celebration Unleashed Dog Park. The Dog Park Committee is seeking feedback from dog park users regarding this program. If you have visited the dog park while the program is in place, we welcome your feedback. Please email your comments to townhall@sierramail.com by February 28th, 2026. This program follows the same residential eligibility and vaccine requirements currently in place for all dog park users.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Perfect. Can we make sure that it's like above the fold in the Friday Flash rather than like?
That's a big ask.
I can do that.
know, like, at least for 1 or 2 weeks, put it above the fold, because otherwise you have to click and half the people don't click to get the rest of them.
Yeah, but I mean, you can give everything that people need. If they don't read it, you can't make that happen.
But at least if it's above the fold, there's a,
I'll let Jacob answer that because that request seems, the placement requests are never made in Friday Flash, but Jacob, you can answer that however you want.
Let
is it
me
Friday
take a
Flash or
quick-
would it be Monday Matters?
This content is relevant for Friday Flash, so I can put that in community notices that is towards the top, or that is at the top section above events and activities.
That's awesome. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank
And,
you, Jacob.
That's
And it
what we're
was
here
town
for.
hall at ciramail.com. Do I have that?
Yep.
CIRA? Okay.
And
Awesome.
a
Thank
great
you.
resource for all residents, if they're having any issues at all, is right where they got their badge and right where they got the sticker on that badge. They can go there to the resident service desk and they can answer any questions and file any complaints or concerns.
Awesome.
No
Okay,
website,
thank
no
you.
emails, no phone calls needed.
Yeah. That's good to know. Thank you very much.
Okay, so to recap, we have voted to table this until our March meeting. Our March meeting will be via Teams, so that, since we don't have a home for that month. And we will, at that point in time, take up the recommendation, yes or no, to recommend the continuation of it based on feedback that we may or may not receive from the community by February 28th. Does that sound
Yes.
correct?
That sounds correct to me.
Okay, great. Anything else,
And
guys?
Danny, are you going to be able to bring that feedback with you or send it out to us ahead of time before that meeting?
Oh, yeah, it'll be part of the agenda. Well, actually, if I get it, see, our meeting, the way our meetings are, it's the first Tuesday.
So you'll have it all by.
Oh, we'll have it by together. Yeah.
Which is why
So
I
March,
said-
yeah, so the 28 guys, I'll have it either be the 20th or 29th, but it'll be before the meeting.
Okay. And since we're having people with email address issues, like if you happen to email them ahead of time, Danny, I will work on getting them out to
Okay.
John and to Katie and anyone else that, because I'm getting emails just fine. I don't know what I don't know why, but I got them. So I can make
Yeah.
sure that gets passed along if you're able to get them out ahead of time.
So how about we change the date on this to February 26th, which is a Thursday? That way Danny can collect that information on Friday, the 27th and give that out to you. That's within the 48-hour notice before your meeting, which is on the following Tuesday.
I'm okay with that.
Is that fine?
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's how I have to do it that Friday. So,
Okay.
so I had to send you guys everything on Friday.
Okay.
And that same messaging that Jacob just read is what you'll put on the bulletin boards.
Okay, so update is that the feedback will all be provided by close of business on 2/26/26.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay,
All right. Thanks for listening to me, everyone. And thank you.
Thank you.
are you guys good?
Yeah, that sounds,
Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated, as you guys know.
yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so next thing on the agenda is the review of the dog park rules and regulations.
Okay, so rehash what we talked about last discussion we had. So we were looking at into the rules and regulations. You'll see on your thing that was highlighted. Anthony, Katie, John, we discussed this already.
Yeah.
We had concerns about residents taking like their cousins' dogs, their brothers' dogs, whoever, their friends' dogs to the dog park, even though they were registered at town hall. So we all agree that now we're good with this. The reason why I'm bringing this back up is because during the last board meeting, it was mentioned, it was something else that was discussed. So basically after our meeting, it was just a discussion, we couldn't vote. We all decided, hey, this was not an issue. Now that we have a quorum, we can rehash this again. But when I got home, I was thinking, this isn't the issue. The issue I have is, how do I prevent you from making money off of this? So let's say I want to take Jared's dog, even though his dog is registered and I'm registered. How do I prevent this being like a commercial thing? So my suggestion was, can we please put that rule, like, guest dogs are allowed, but not for commercial use. That was my, suggestion that we mentioned to the board meeting, but I think it was kind of confused on what was that. So that's why I want to re-discuss this with you guys. Would you guys be okay if I put, guest dogs are allowed as long as they are, registered at town hall, but not for commercial use?
Yeah, I'm okay with adding the commercial. My issue with this is because I brought this up very early on as something I wanted to do as like a fundraiser for the dog park. And we briefly discussed this last meeting, but somehow between last meeting and then this meeting, this was already on like an agenda item for a vote for CROA for like a $10 week pass that goes to CROA and not the dog park. So I'm trying to figure out where's that disconnect?
So that was not us. We did not ask for that. I gotta decide what that was about.
But
What
I
we
get that.
wanted.
Yeah, my whole thing is, why are we even doing this if we're not even going to be acknowledged type thing?
Yeah.
We had talked about doing breed
So
restrictions.
this thing was
Yeah.
this is like years ago. The previous dog park members talked about having a guest pass, stuff like that. That was years ago. What my thing was the commercial use. That's what I asked to have put on the agenda for the board meeting, is if we can add that we allow guest dogs into the park as long as they're registered, but it can't be commercial.
So my
Yeah, but
impression
we
of
still
that
need
is,
to back it up a little bit. So I'm still, because that wasn't what we discussed last meeting. Like, I'm fine
No.
with adding a caveat for commercial use, but it was brought up as like a topic for us to discuss, and it somehow bypassed all that to just like, hey, we're doing this 1 week pass for $10. And
No, okay.
I have a question. I don't think I'm understanding what is being discussed right now. Is it that like is it the commercial use, like basically I can't, like basically people can't pay me to bring their dogs into the park, right?
Exactly.
correct.
That
yeah.
aren't registered.
Yeah, and we discussed doing like a pass. My thoughts behind it were that there are people that stay here for like a month at a time or 2 months at a time. And then having like a pass. I thought like $100 for a quarter. Yeah, for someone that's like they're not a resident here, but they're here for an extended period and they could register their dog and use the dog park. We could use it as a fundraiser. I'd wanted to add breed restrictions to that because they're not residents to that thing. And so that's kind of what we had discussed in different levels last week. What Danny's talking about is basically you can't commercialize it. So you can't, like run like a dog walking service type thing and be like, hey, I'm going to bring them to the park, because I have a pass. Yeah.
But here's the issue is that there are other dog sitting services and people in town who take registered dogs for their owners when the owners can't make it.
Yeah, so I would say that's more of a private, not a commercial thing. I would say that caveat kind of falls.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, because like if you're like just a dog walker, right? If you're walking a dog and they're paying you to do that, that is by definition commercial.
Okay.
So I mean, I guess if I'm kind of with Katie on, I'm a little confused on what we're discussing, because it sounded like at first we were kind of recapping what we talked about in our non-core meeting last month, but was there more discussion with the board, and is this like something that's happening? Like, I guess I'm a little lost.
It somehow bypassed this and was like at the last town hall for just the HOA. This was like a thing. They were going to do a week pass for the dog park for a fee. They'd have to go through the registration, all that kind of stuff.
It's only for dogs.
It was the
that
board.
are-
Yeah.
It's only for dogs that are guests of a resident. You can't not be a resident and use the dog park without a resident. That's not an option. If you come and rent a house outside of Celebration and you're here for a month, you can't get a guest pass. You need a resident still to be with you. There's no option for a non-resident to use.
No, I get that, but my whole point here is we've had numerous discussions of this somehow bypassed the dog park committee altogether. Is what I kind of have an issue with.
These conversations.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I don't know what, I'm gonna look into this because this was brought to me about what might have been said at the board meeting. What I'm discussing to you guys was that this commercial thing was not brought up to the committee. We all agreed it was a discussion again. We all agreed that we're okay with the way the rules work. And you guys mentioned about the passing on, but I said that's in the future. We're not with that. We do not do any, it's just a discussion, right? So I don't know if that was brought up to the board. That was not my intent. My intent was to only add that if you bring a guest dog that is registered, you cannot get paid for it. It cannot be used for commercial use. That's all I want to add. No, just
For,
no
Yeah.
commercial
for
use. That
what
was it.
reason, though?
I mean, what reason? Because it's a liability. Everything we do is a liability. If you walk your friend's dog and that dog bites someone, who am I going after?
We need partner, just like Park Bus has a contract and all the terms. We can't have anyone using the dog park for their, just like we restrict swim lessons, just like we restrict tennis lessons. It's the same as everything else that we do. You have to be registered as a partner program to be offering services like that.
It's the reason Melania doesn't do dog training in the dog park. It's the reason
No,
I
yeah,
don't
she
do
doesn't.
pet photography in the dog park.
And that's the reason we're
Um,
paying 20%.
Yeah.
Correct.
I can answer, I know there was a question about what was said at the board meeting. I was there. It was just put on our agenda to have consideration to allow people to bring dogs that are guests of residents. And so that's what that vote was. It was just
so
to
my thing is,
approve.
this kind of falls into that category.
Sorry to
This
say
whole
that.
bypassing us is kind of horseshit. Just being frank here.
How is it wait, John, hold on a second. Wait, what, how is it, that's why I'm confused. How is it bypassing you guys? We talked
Because
about
we
it in
had
discussion.
a very brief discussion, and out of
Uh-huh.
that, we had a lot of other things that we were going to discuss at the next meetings about doing
Uh-huh.
guest passes. One of the things was breed restrictions, lengths, finances, all of this, and this is somehow just regardless of no feedback from us. This is just literally on the HOA. It's like, hey, let's try to pass this $10 thing. That none of it, from what I understand, was set to go to the dog park.
Okay, so John, I don't know about this $10 thing. But that was not.
But the board did say there would be a $10 charge for a week pass. It was for additional maintenance on the facility. We're adding more dogs, and so there's a cost that comes with that,
Okay,
and
so
that's where that. came
Okay, so this has nothing to do with what we were asked about the commercial stuff. This is not about us then.
No, yeah, it's separate. But I think these are kind of like, because my understanding is these are disconnected but kind of connected in the same way. Because yes, you could do something on the dog park rules with like, hey, you can't do it for commercial use. But this is where I think one of these passes would come into play, or even just some kind of like if you already have a resident. There should be a way to kind of add them to the account, like, hey, this person can also walk, the dog type thing. So I think there's a lot of ways to kind of work around to where, we have residents that do walk other dogs. If I'm running late for meetings, I've had people, bring my dog to the dog park and I usually arrive not much later. So, I mean, I think there's a couple of workarounds for this. I mean, am I in favor of a commercial company doing it? Not necessarily. Do residents have other residents bring their dogs to the park? It happens all the time.
And that's allowed.
Yes.
There's no problem with that.
Yeah. But my whole thing is with this whole, I think this could be solved with the pass system, which I think really, in all honesty, should be something that the dog park committee handles. As people that are there all the time, deal with what's going on, the day-to-day of what stresses other people and their pets out and what doesn't. I'll be honest with you, I'm just not happy we were kind of bypassed on this.
So your your idea that you had in the last discussion, by me putting this commercial thing would not affect what you guys want to do next year. This was basically me asking, are you guys okay with this? And the more I thought about it, now that we have Bark Buzz, am I going to have another Bark Buzz company come in and try and do this? And then we'll have an issue because now I can't go after them because I don't know who these people are. That's why I just said, hey, listen, you guys are okay with this? I would like to just put a little thing that says not for commercial use. Now, if we come back next year with the new dog park committee and they decide they want to do this $10 pass or whatever it is that we discussed, we do recommendations, it goes to the board. They can agree or disagree.
Yeah, can I ask a question? Where is this coming from? Do we think that this is an issue that needs to be codified?
So yes. So what happens? It happens to all our facilities. We have coaches into the gym. And that's our liability. The gym is a liability. So we get a lot of feedback because we don't allow guests in the gym. It's just like the dog park. You have to be a resident. You got to have a pass to get into the gym. So now I don't know if this guy's a teacher or not, but if he's a resident, he's great. But if he's not, he got to go out. Tennis, same thing.
Yeah.
We have coaches that are sneaking into the courts, taking resident spots, teaching. That's a commercial use. And every time we kick them out, they say, well, where does it say that? So this is where my issue is if we allow this, I'm fine with that. That's already in the rules. I just want to add the little thing that says no commercial use. That's it. Just so that it keeps us safe. And the dog park committee doesn't have to get the whole calls and the talks about, hey, why is this guy still here? Da, 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 da. So that's why I'm trying to prevent us from having to deal with this, what I'm dealing with the other facility.
So this was proactive from management based on other things going on with gyms, because I know this is a problem in other places, the pools, the gyms, the tennis courts. So this was proactive by management to resolve this for the dog park, so there's not an issue.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I get
Do you
that.
have a
There's a little
question on
bit
this
nuance.
particular thing or something in
Why
general?
are we?
No, it's to do with this. I was at the last meeting with you, Jared, and I questioned the part that apparently you typed, Danny, according to Jacob and Lauren. You typed it and the dog park committee hadn't seen it, hadn't voted on it, but you typed it. It's nothing like what you've just said. And then when I questioned the committee, because I've spoken to the chairman that afternoon, I've spoken to Eugene about this, and Jared said that all the money that was raised was going to Crower and not to the dog park committee fund. And so when I said that what you've just told them is completely different to what was said at the Crower meeting.
So, okay, for the record, I did not type that. So I'm gonna find out.
So Lauren,
No.
Jacob.
No, so I'm gonna find out. No. So I'm gonna find out who did the typing, but that was my intention, is to do the commercial. Put commercial into the rules. That was my intent.
But that wasn't what was put to the
Well, then-
Crower board.
Then that's not,
Jacob,
I agree. That's not what was put.
and I questioned this at the time, and I think you were the one that said to Lauren, well, who's presenting this? And Lauren said, well, Danny typed it and given it to everybody.
Well, we can find out about that.
Okay.
I don't know the answer on that.
no, that was not, I did not type that. So,
I just think there's a difficult situation here where, for instance, you've got dogs, Jared, and if you ask somebody else to walk your dog and take it to the dog park, you've got the dog park pass. They've got the pass. They swipe it in. We all pay our dues to use the pass, and it's same as John. His dad, his uncle, takes John's dad's dog to the park. My daughter takes our friend's dog, and now my daughter, she walks dogs for a living as well, like these guys. And if there's a partner program being opened up to the community, then I think there should be an advert. If this is the way that it's got to go, rather than just going with one company, there should be an opportunity for.
We're not going with any company though. There's no partner program happening. And everyone you just said is a resident. Residents can use this.
Well, yeah, but not what Danny's saying, because what Danny's saying that if you take someone else's dog, and for instance, if Katie hires somebody that's in town to walk her dog because she's caught in a meeting,
Yep.
and she pays them to take them to the dog park, what Danny's saying is that technically that's commercial use, which I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, because like these guys, my daughter's insured. So if she needs to prove her insurance,
Yeah.
that's no issue. But I think it needs to be more streamlined than just, this all being a grey area. It needs to be, this is the way we do it. That if you're walking dogs in town and you're walking dogs to somebody else, then you have to come, you have to fill the paperwork in at town hall, you have to show your insurance. And if there's a subscription for doing that, obviously these guys are taking maybe 20 dogs at a time, 10 dogs at a time. She's taking one, maybe two, but usually just one. Then it needs to be a fair playing field for everybody, and it needs to be clear for everybody. And clearly, after the last Crower meeting, the one thing was clear.
It's the commercial thing that
Yeah.
But
I see that. I see.
it's, where you classify
I
commercial,
think the
Yeah.
difference
you're
though,
right.
from what I'm hearing is if Gene gives his ID to his uncle and says, here, $10, go take my dog, that's different than somebody saying, I have an ID, I'm gonna take that dog and that dog and that dog.
I can see what you're
See, that's
saying.
why I think these are,
It's- There's,
hey guys, hold on.
there's two
That's why I think
sides to
these
this
are,
though, because the person's still getting paid for it.
But I think that's the difference in commercial versus asking a family
And
member
that's
to
maybe
take.
where we need to have this cleared up, that
Right.
if it's, you're
Yeah.
taking one dog or two dogs to get rewarded, or you're taking 10 dogs. But, you know, these guys are running the business as well, and it needs to be a fair playing field for everybody. If they're paying, then that money that they're paying, is that going into the maintenance of the dog park? Is there now a separate account for the dog park maintenance? Is that how it's done? I don't know. I'm asking. I'm not trying to criticize, I'm trying to work out the problem for everybody else, because I know there's a lot of people that go to the dog park. And there's a lot of people that get really upset about this being such a grey area of what actually is going, what they're supposed to do.
Sure, that's valid.
I think, to me, both of these are connected in a way. I'm going to recommend we table the discussion on the rules and our recommendation to the board for dog park visitor pass in full capacity until after our next meeting, since we're going to be doing a virtual meeting.
I don't,
I don't think
I
we were
don't think the
talking about a visitor pass.
no, the
That
visitor
was-
pass is done. That's been voted and that's been done. I think this is about the rules and regulations. For example, wanting to add, kennel cough vaccinations and things like that.
Right, which we should actually talk about adding that as well.
Did you say that list had Bordetella in it?
It does not. The list currently, so segueing into the vaccination
Well, before we
Question.
do that, should we finish the discussion on this particular item?
well, are we gonna table adding commercial use to the rules? Cause
No, I
that's
mean,
really all we were talking about for this one. was-
I feel like they were connected. Honestly, we were just bypassing all of it. So, because one of the biggest issues I raised if we were going to do a visitor pass was doing some breed restrictions first off, and then doing this as a fundraiser for the park. And I think, the board just doesn't want our input.
But this wasn't about visitor passes at all. This was strictly about adding a couple of words to the
So-
current rules. It had nothing to do with visitor
Yes, which
passes.
I had said
So
is something that
let-
could
let
be
me just
attained
say
with like
something
a
real quick.
visitor pass or like adding someone to your account as being allowed to walk your dog type thing. Those can be connected. So,
All right, so
yeah.
So, John, real quick. So all I wanted was a commercial thing added to the rules. That was my whole point. With all this discussion about tabling the approval of Bark Bus. You guys are all concerned about, well, are they doing the rules or this or that or this? We're concerned, are people happy about it? Well, the thing is, I can go after them as a partner program. The board and management can go after them if they're doing wrong. I can't go after Mr. Timmy who decided to bring Roger's dog to the dog park. Unless I find out who he is, and then I can see his pass, and then we have to reject his pass.
You'd know who the dog was.
No, but I'm.
You'd know who the dog
Yeah.
was, so you know who the owners were because they
Yeah.
scanned in the
But
gate.
then if I say you can't do that, well, where's it say I can't do this?
Yeah, but
It says on the rules.
The only guide you've got is the gate pass. So if the person's swiping in when they come in the gate,
Mhm.
then the dog's got a pass. The dog's a resident. So I don't understand the logic of
But
the
if that
pass
dog,
is issued
yeah,
to the dog. Because you need vaccinations, you need all
Yeah.
of the certification for the dog. Otherwise you don't get the access to the gate.
that's true, which these guys do. But we're tabling
So
accepting these guys.
yeah, but I think that you're talking about two completely separate.
No, the
things.
liability is all I'm asking is liability. I have a liability of letting someone use the dog park for commercial use
But the
because I
liability
can't.
is the dog. The liability is the dog and the dog's owner because they've swiped in the gate. I'm
Okay.
sure if you look at the covenants in the town, if you're a resident and that dog is a resident because they've had to show all of their vaccinations to go to town hall to get the pass to swipe in. If they're a resident, then they can go in the gate. So the liability is on the person who swiped in.
The vote for the board, though,
I also-
was
I don't, hasn't every dog that's registered, don't the owners sign a waiver anyway, saying that like if something happens to your dog, you're not gonna sue the town? So if you're bringing in registered dogs, whether or not it's part of a walking service that you're being paid for, there is no liability.
that's not an argument that is worth entertaining. That's not how we do things. You can sign a waiver for whatever. That doesn't mean you can't bring a case.
And have you had any incidences where this is an issue?
No,
We have, it's all the other, it's all the other amenities that have the incidents. So that's why this came up.
It was a
Well, yeah, I
proactive.
appreciate, I've sat in enough meetings with the tennis courts where there's a lot of people that even the tennis coach didn't pay any rent for a long while.
Yep.
And so I agree that there should be transparency. If these guys are paying, then the committee should know how much they're paying. So that can also be gauged on the use of the grass. You know, there's no grass down there at the moment. So anyone at the last meeting, they tried to say we're going to patch it. There is no grass on the golf park. That can't be patched. We're back in the same situation where I'm going to get a drone to go and take photographs to show the ball again because it's not being managed properly. But we're going to go through this whole cycle constantly. And if you're going to let people bring in 10 dogs, two guys, and it's affecting the grass, then from the town's perspective, we need to know what impact that has and how much lifespan it gives the grass. Because when we stood there last time,
Hold on. You're going down something that isn't even what we're talking about. So I want to just pause that if that's a valid thing. But we are so off topic on everything here. We've got to get back on what we're talking about, which is the rules and regulations of the dog park. So
the little table put in commercial.
Yeah,
park.
I mean, I'll withdraw the table. I mean, because again, I do feel like they're connected between the past, because almost like same thing with like my car insurance. I've got my niece who's in college on my policy because if she's ever in town, she can drive my car. And I think that there's a path to do that in Celebration because you're never going to have 100% where residents, you know, like to Ralph's point, all the dogs are registered. But
they're not,
people
though.
bringing,
That's why they're not. That's why this went to the board. If my brother shows up and drives in from out of state and brings his dog, that dog is not registered. I can go to town hall, fill out the paperwork for that dog, pay $10, and that dog can use the park.
and that's why these are connected.
Yeah.
Because
So
now
like,
all of a sudden you're referring to a guest pass, a visitor pass, which is what I'm saying. Like this is the pathway to fix this, which is why I wanted to table both. But you didn't. You wanted to separate this and say, hey, this is just for commercial use. Because my point exactly, this could be solved with a pass or having residents add other people that can bring their pets to their pass. Would
Is
be
there a
something to have this
maximum
registered
pets
with
that we allow?
Celebration. So you just tied these together for me.
What two things? Well, I'm only talking about a pass. I'm only talking about a pass. What's the other thing?
Adding this to the rules and regulations.
No, the rule and regulation is Danny's talking
For
about a
commercial
commercial
use,
aspect.
which we're saying is like, hey, we have an issue with because there are residents that bring other residents' dogs and to other people. Sometimes people pay them 10, 20, 30 bucks to bring their dogs. And would this fall under that policy? And I said, I think these are connected. There's a way to do a registration process or have people, like I do with my auto insurance, have people like, hey, this person's allowed
people
to
are
drive my
using it
car.
commercially.
This
That's what
person's
he's
allowed
saying.
to walk my dog.
Okay, so where did this commercial thing come from?
The rules and regulations.
When we talked
what
about
we
the
were
rules
just
and
talking about before we
regulations.
looped it back to the
So-
past.
Hang on a second,
Hold on.
Gene.
So commercial use was brought up when I left the dog park committee meeting discussion.
Yeah.
And my concern was if we are going to allow this, which the committee agreed, who was there, if we allow this, then I would like to have a stipulant that says, can we put down, you can bring guest dogs as long as they're registered, but not with commercial use. That's why. So brought it up and she put it on the package. I guess it was put down somewhere else. That was a different thing. I didn't ask for passes. I asked for to add no commercial use. To prevent this stuff to be happening at the dog park that is happening at the gym and what's happening over at the tennis court.
And so why does everyone want to table this instead of just discussing this now?
I don't.
I don't know.
Personally-
Why didn't we just
Yeah.
discuss it before the Crow voted on this? I mean, it's,
I can't answer that. I don't know, because it just came to us and we voted on it. I don't know how that happened, but you can always make new recommendations and
Can I make a suggestion? Why can't we just add the dog walker on the pass of the person whose house it is? So if I come and walk your dog for you, Jared.
Yep.
And your dog's got a dog park pass, why can't you just add my name onto your pass?
we don't even have to do that because you're a resident with a pass. I'm an owner with a
Yeah, but
dog
I'm
that's
paying.
registered.
You're paying me. So Danny's point here that he's trying to pick up on the commercial use.
Yeah.
You're paying me $10 to walk your dog. So what I'm saying is, why can't you just add me on your pass? Why can't you just say, Rob Staten is on my pass as well, so if he wants to take my dog to the dog park, he can do.
That is, I don't know an answer, yes or no on that, so I think we can ask that and find that out.
So this is Anthony.
It's this
I'm
dog thing.
fine with, I think I'm fine with calling a vote at this point. I don't know if we are in support of this. It seems like it, I respect Danny and I know you're coming from a good place with this. But it does seem like a place that it's like one of those rules that doesn't seem necessary at the moment. And it could be used to weaponize against other residents, which I'm not in favor of. So as we stand right here, if I were to call a vote, I would say I would not vote for this.
Okay,
I am
That's
also a
fine.
no.
Okay.
so we have a motion from Anthony and a second from Katie. Do you also want to add in anything about the vaccinations?
Yes.
yes,
I
we'd
would
like
Can
to
we
add
add
more
that,
to
can
that.
we make that a separate vote?
So hang
Sure.
on,
Yeah, we'll do
hang
separate vote.
hang on a second. Anthony, what was your specific motion?
I would like to vote to add the language that Danny suggested about guest dogs not being brought to the dog park for commercial use. And Danny, please correct me if I had that wrong.
Okay, well, so you're in, okay, hold on. That's what, it sounds like you guys are saying no to having that commercial.
Can you phrase your motion exactly, please? So that we get it
Yes,
accurate.
yes,
I-
but before I
Anthony,
answer
do you want
that,
me to try this?
yeah, please. 'Cause I think I'm gonna get it wrong.
I'm gonna motion against adding the commercial use language to the dog park rules and regulations.
Okay, so Katie is motioning against adding the words commercial to the regulations for visiting dogs.
Correct.
Yes, for commercial use.
So wait, just for clarity's sake, does that mean if I vote for this, then I'm against it? Should we just keep them?
Yeah, I know.
I guess
We
means
have
no.
to word, it has to be worded in the positive. So
Yeah.
the motion is to
Not,
add language for commercial use. And then,
Right.
got
and
it,
then you would vote no.
okay,
Okay.
so,
So Anthony's motion, correct me if I'm wrong, is to motion to add commercial use language to the dog park rules.
Rules and regulations, yeah.
Yes, that
okay,
is
who's
correct.
gonna second?
I'll second it.
You got all that,
And then the vote,
correct, Danny, do you have all of that detail
what's
written
on
up?
the recording.
Okay, just wanna make sure. All in favor of motioning to add language for commercial use?
No.
No.
No,
Just saying no.
All opposed?
All opposed?
Anthony is opposed.
Yes. Opposed.
You?
Fine, yeah, I'm against it.
I'm against it.
So
So
it's
unanimously
unanimously that we are failing to add language for commercial use,
Now a new motion for,
correct? So
Or
now
no?
we're gonna talk about the shots.
Yes. I would like to motion, or at least if we can discuss it first, but with the recent outbreak of kennel cough at the dog park, at least on the large dog side, I would like to discuss potentially adding a kennel cough vaccine requirement for the park.
Okay. Open for discussion. My question first
Alright.
is, I think Bordetella is only good for 6 months. And we require vaccines yearly.
Wait, is it only
So,
6 months? Well,
yes.
okay. Wait, so we're talking Bordetella and not canine influenza. Is that a correct statement?
So Bordetella is canine cough. Canine influenza is a different vaccine that is a yearly vaccine.
Okay, and what one are we looking for?
Our bigger issue right now is kennel cough, but I think we should add canine influenza as well, just to be safe.
So the current, I'm gonna just read you guys what the current vaccines required are. That way we all have that straight. The current vaccines are rabies, distemper, and a fecal test.
What does
Okay.
what does like the what is it? But not the oh my gosh, what is that place? The daycare place. What is it called? I'm blanking on it.
Pet Paradise.
Yeah, what do they require?
They require Bordetella and influenza.
Right, but Bordetella has to be renewed every 6 months.
My
Is it really
Bordetella
6
is
months?
yearly.
Yeah, it's
I'm
Yeah,
looking
I was
at
just
Wes's
thinking, mine's
vaccine
yearly
records right
too.
now.
Yeah.
You know what
Mine
is
has
every
always
6 months
been
though
6
is the
months.
parasite screening. The intestinal, the fecal samples is every 6 months actually, not the Bordetella.
Same with heartworm. Or heartworm's usually every.
Oh, so
But no,
actually, I think we're both. I think we're both
I
right.
think we should just keep it at-
Some Bordetella vaccines are 6 months, and some vaccines are yearly. It might.
Yeah.
I don't know if it varies based on size of dog or
I've
something.
never
but
had a yearly Bordetella.
it can be
for
6
years.
months.
It's always been 6
Yeah,
months.
because Rudy is always annual. It's
I don't
never been
feel
6 months.
Yeah.
So it
Mine's
might just
12
be
months.
based on
anytime
dog
she's
size.
been anywhere, they require a 6 month.
Well, it shouldn't
Yeah.
matter how long it is. You guys either want it or you don't.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was gonna say.
Well,
I
no,
would say
I
yeah
think
for
it does
Bordetella.
matter.
We just
'cause I
recently had
think
an
it's-
outbreak of Bordetella.
Okay, only one
Which
of
is
you can
chemical.
talk at a time because you're in like the remotest speaker from us and we can hardly hear you.
Okay.
I'll let John go
I
first.
think let's keep it at Bordetella, which is kennel cough. I'm pretty sure it's an annual. And we just had a big outbreak. I think it affected about 10 or 15 dogs that we know of
So,
over the
Jean,
past few weeks.
What Jill was just saying, and it looks like online she is correct that it can be 6 month increments with that vaccine. It's an annual for some, but it's not an annual for others. It's a 6 months for others.
I just make it that it's got to be the annual vaccine.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a.
Or
There's
you
a lot
just
I don't know
send
about
in
the options.
for the
the
vaccine.
record when you get the Bordetella updated.
The
What's
only
that, Gabe?
alternative would be that it's recommended because I know, like in my dog's instance, he had the vaccine. He still got kennel cough.
Right.
It was kind of like getting the COVID shot. You just get, a much, it wasn't as strenuous on him because he had the vaccine. So
Could-
my thing would be like, let's either add it or make it a recommendation when people
I just have
register that kennel cough.
hesitation on like I'm all for vaccines, and if it's annual, great. But I have a hesitation on like a 6 month because you have to go to a vet and pay the office fee to get it. I think it's a lot more friction for people.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I
can
do-
we just require that it be given at least once a year?
I don't know, maybe.
Well, I think,
I'm
I
not
mean,
against
it's,
that.
So
I try to think of
Hannah-
it from like the office standpoint because they just lock you out of the park if the records aren't up to date, and I think they just put a date in the system and it like locks you out of the park. And so, if it is a 6 month or an annual thing, I'm like, is this going to add a lot of strain on the office staff, or do we just say, hey, we require rabies, we require distemper, we strongly recommend you have Bordetella type thing.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with just recommending both Bordetella and canine influenza. I think like the flu vaccine for people, they both have, marginal success rates. Depending on
Yeah,
the
it's
strain.
more about the like then the dogs who are carrying it don't transfer it too. Like it's just stopping the spread,
Yeah, and
Right.
it is
but, like-
something that is commonly required for like any boarding of dogs. They usually have to have more vaccines than just
Mhm.
the couple that we're requiring. So I'm in favor of at very least recommending. I'm sorry, Jill, I took the thunder away from you. Please continue.
So again, all of the boarding places typically want your Bordetella to be within 6 months, to have like a 6-month period, which is why they usually only offer a 6-month vaccine for it. Again, I am totally cool if we want to make a recommendation to add to the rules that it is, recommended that your dog have both Bordetella and canine influenza, but not required, just because people often don't know. And if I get, the Bordetella vaccine for my dog in September, and then in April, she comes down with, Bordetella, it's out of the time period, but we're not gonna have any way to manage that, that kind of expectation for having the vaccine. So I would say make it recommended. That would be my thought.
Yeah, I think so too. I think recommended, because it's not like rabies. You don't get a
You can't
mild
get
or a
infected
strong case of
for it.
rabies. You just get rabies. But Bordetella, half the dogs that got it were vaccinated. It's just a matter of like how serious it is when you do get it. So I would say let's make it a strongly recommended.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so I will take a motion. Well, actually, I guess I'll just make the motion. I will motion that we add to the regulations that we recommend strongly that dogs also have both Bordetella and canine influenza vaccines prior to attending the dog park.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anthony's in favor.
John.
Okay, so we are going to add the recommendation to the rules.
Yep.
That we add that to did you capture all that? Because I didn't write it down.
Danny's gonna have to watch this meeting.
I was gonna watch it.
Okay, so now that we've passed all of that, let's talk about next thing on the agenda, which is the dog park funds discussion. And we have, I don't even know what time it is. We have 30 minutes left. No, we have 8 minutes. We have 8 minutes left in this meeting, so.
I don't want to overstep my role here. I just want to make a comment about this because I saw there's prices for umbrellas, prices for benches, there's discussion of sand pit. But the one thing for the last 3 years, I've been on this committee for 3 years, and every year we try to do agility equipment. The umbrellas and the benches, couple things. One, the value of them is under what management can just do. If we need to buy a bench, we can just buy a bench. We don't have to use, the board can just authorize that. We don't have to use dog park funds to do that.
That's great.
Those are also things that aren't for the dogs. So I just want to strongly recommend, I'm not going to tell anyone what to do, but I strongly recommend that the dog park funds go towards agility equipment that is for the dogs.
So we discussed agility equipment maybe 2 or so meetings ago, like last official meetings. There were estimates brought in, and we all opted not to move forward with agility equipment because it is very expensive, and the dogs, there were maybe 3 or 4 dogs who would use it on a daily basis.
Yeah, it kind of went from agility to, then we discussed shading, and then moving water stations, and a whole bunch of stuff. Basically everything either came back as a no or just it was too expensive. But I mean, I hear your recommendation. Like, we do need to use it on something and for the dogs type thing. But, I don't think we're going to get any of that resolved this meeting, to be honest with you.
So the sand pit should come out of regular maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Speaking of
should
which,
be-
yeah.
Can we get that
I would
resolved
love
today?
to have that discussion.
Yeah. But getting back to dog park funds, because I mean, it's my biggest issue is, can we use the funds? Because we've been asking for sand for 6 months now. It's like $100, and like we approved some funds to be used for like once a year digging out the sand pit and resanding it, which is for the dogs. But like, it's not getting, none of it's getting used. Like I know,
To
we could
respond to
easily
that,
blow
Sean?
15 grand on agility equipment, but to Anthony's point, I don't think it's really going to get used.
Yeah, and to respond to that, John, we haven't had a quorum meeting in the last 2 months. So when we had that discussion, there was no actual meeting. So this is the first time that we've had that chance.
Okay.
What was the, I find it hard to believe I personally know 10 dogs that would use agility equipment. So to make the statement that only 4 dogs would use it seems
Yeah. So
odd.
I think this is worth discussing. I think given the amount of time and in my view, like the urgency, I would like to just get solidified the sand replacement. If that has to come out of our funds, I'd like to have that discussion. If it's coming,
For the dogs.
that may be the case, Jill, and I think this is a great forum to discuss that, because in our talk that we had last month, we were under the impression that it is not from maintenance and that it would have to come from our funds.
Correct.
annually, Or
Correct, because it is that is for the dogs, so that would come.
Yeah.
right. So if that's the case, I would like to get some kind of plan for the sand to be maintained and replaced. And in my view, I think that should come before agility equipment, because this is now an ongoing expense that we have to plan for. I don't want that to not be funded.
That benefits half the park.
If
How much is the sand?
2,500.
To redo the whole thing.
Yeah.
To
No,
replace
no,
it,
we
What,
the whole
no,
thing.
because we got
Why
a
can't we
quote
just
for like,
add-
I think it was like 16 or 1700 to redo it, like to dig it out and redo it, which I thought was
I'm
astronomical.
looking at the numbers right here. It's 2,505 to remove and fulfill, 425 to top up.
Okay, literally Lowe's will do it for much cheaper.
That's not who we have a contract with.
But when I sat at the Crow meeting the other day,
Yeah.
again, you were there, Jared, and Brian was there.
Yes.
Brian said that all 3 quotes had been added up, and there was one quote for $100 to add the sand to the sand pit, leaving what was there and just putting on the top. He said that the problem was with the landscaping quotes that were on the board, that management had added all 3 quotes that he'd given together.
Correct.
And that was why it all got tabled, because I said, well, if there's a problem with this one, is there a problem with all the others as well?
On this, it may be less than that. I'm just reading what I have in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
this is Jacob again. So the answer to solve this
Right,
so the answer is what Jared mentioned. To do a full removal and replace with sand is $2,505. If you would like it's topped off with more sand, that is $425. That was pushed back down to go to this committee to understand where they would like direction. As we're ready to move forward, we're just waiting on this committee's direction on which option they would prefer.
so why don't we just, for now, why don't we just move forward with $420?
Well, that's what we're asking the committee.
Okay, so
I appreciate that now that Jacob's highlighted that.
I'll say this, is there any interest in if we can make, I'm not making any commitments here, and Jacob probably is gonna like this. If we can make sand replacement and management part of maintenance, and we use
You
the
have
funds for, it, so that is ongoing responsible of maintenance. And can we use the funds for agility equipment? I keep persisting on this because for 3 years we wanted
longer,
agility.
Yeah.
longer than that.
I mean,
It's
you
been
definitely
at
have
least 5
my
years.
attention. If we can move the sand to maintenance and not have to fund it ourselves, you definitely have my attention with that.
And
So-
I think you're kidding yourself if you think that they are going to be able to replace the sand every year. Look at the grass. We can't even get it watered. That is never going to happen. Just pay for the sand at $450 and then deal with the rest of it once you've agreed the design, because I think the design for the agility equipment is near enough the amount that you guys have got in the account. So I understand what Jared is trying to get to, but I just think that, the board has worked long and hard to raise this money. And let's just get some sand, which the dogs will use every night.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
I can say we have a lot of this inside the CROA, CROA landscaping. So with this can come out of CROA landscaping. What direction would the committee like to move forward with?
So I will take I'll take a motion that we just top off the sand to get this done and dusted. All in
I'm-
favor, yes or
Oh,
no?
hold on,
I'll
hold on. I'd like to
second it.
discuss a little further if we can vote before we vote.
Sure.
Sure.
So I think this was what my stance has been, is that I don't think a top off is going to be adequate. I believe it does need to get replaced on an annual basis. This is sand that's outside in the elements that dogs are going to do dog stuff in, and they're going to eliminate in there. And if that sand isn't being cleaned, it's been a full year, just topping it off while it's the cheaper option, I don't think it's not a sanitary option. I
No,
definitely,
it's
if I had
not
kids,
sustainable. This is
I-
just a Band-Aid for right now.
well, I don't like it because I'm afraid that if we vote just to top off, then we're not going to replace it for a whole nother year. So I am not in favor of doing that for that reason,
Anthony
unless we can
shared,
have like a lot more discussion on it.
Anthony shared his point. You are close on time. I'd recommend moving to a vote.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so let's go ahead and vote. So
So I've made a motion. Do I have a second?
What's
yes,
the
so
motion?
second.
Repeat the motion.
The motion is that for now, we just top off the sand to get it done. Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second it.
And that will be using dog park funds.
Yes, yeah, this for what,
And that will
450?
use
Yes,
dog
yeah.
park funds for the $425,
Yeah.
sure. Even though y'all could just use a credit card. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against?
I'm against.
Okay, so Anthony against, everybody else in favor. So motion carries that we will use $425 of the dog park funds to put sand in top of the thing. Does that work for you, Jacob?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So now it is actually 7:01 PM. And we have not discussed everything on the thing. What is our plan here, sir?
Well, I would say we can leave, but the problem is no one uses their town hall email, so I can't get this information from you guys. So I need to know what is our accomplishments that you want me to put on the annual meeting. Each year, all the committees come up and state what their accomplishments was for the year. And we have not got that. If you guys
I got
can
my
send it to
email
me
back up.
tomorrow,
Danny, yeah, I
we
can
can
email
end
you
the
tonight.
meeting.
Did you guys say something?
Oh, I did. So I finally got my email back up. I was saying I can email you tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, what I think. I mean, that's fine. If you want to reach out to I think Katie's still having issues. I had the authenticator got stuck in a loop with mine, so it took forever to get mine back up and going because it prompted me to change the password, and then the authenticator wanted the password to then give me a code.
I don't care.
But
Yeah, the same problem.
I don't
but
care.
yeah,
Sorry.
but I'll email you tonight. That way we can kind of just, I guess, move it along.
So let's do a motion.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually go back again to the dog park fund discussion. Yes, if you can email any accomplishments that our committee has done to Danny, that would be awesome. So back to the dog park funds discussion, we have, I don't know how much, remember what the total is?
Yeah, I have it down.
17,160.
No, so we got $17,160.46.
Minus the $450 or $425 for
Yeah.
sand,
For top off.
for top off of the sand. I would like to make a motion that we use the remainder of the funds to actually get agility equipment. We have
I'm not
literally
ready.
talked about this for 5 years while I have been on this committee.
I do not support that if we don't have a plan for sand maintenance.
In technicality, it's just you pause here and you wait for a second on the motion. If you have
Oh,
that second,
sorry.
you can discuss, and if you don't, then the motion
Okay,
dies.
I apologize. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So do we have a second?
I don't know.
It's just for discussion. It's
I
not, you were,
would say no, because I don't think we have enough time. It's a bigger conversation. So I'd say, unfortunately, I think we need to punt this to the next meeting. Whether it's, the virtual
Okay,
meeting
so
or
we
it's the
don't
next
have a
committee.
second for it. we need to talk about, I know, I can't. We need to talk about when our next meeting is gonna be, the second Tuesday.
Yes, second Tuesday would be March 3rd.
Okay, for
And that
virtual
would be,
only.
I will try to find a place for us to meet, but I think it's just Teams. I wrote it down Teams. That means I don't have a place for us. So it'd have to be Teams.
Okay,
That's fine with me. Anyone have a problem with that?
Unless we can do
Nope,
it
that works for
earlier.
me.
Okay, all right, then we're
Yeah, I
good for a
have to come to your
Teams
house
meeting
so I
on
can
March
do it.
3rd.
No, well, yeah. All right, okay.
well, I'll figure out a way.
We'll figure out. I'll find something. If we gotta change the day, I'll change a different day.
Take a motion.
So I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
We skipped, do we need to rediscuss the November 10th incident? Are we good?
We are so over time.
Well,
Okay,
we're out
yeah.
of time.
Okay, all right, well then, yeah, that's in second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Done.
So,
All right. Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
All right, man, thank you.